This is question 10 of the Chapter 4 agenda questions. They're still getting us to do the same stuff we did in questions 7, 8, and 9. They want us to create two equations in the standard form with no fractions and no decimals, and then use the method of addition to solve those equations. So let's see what they've told us. Loblaws sells 2 brands of jam. Brand X sells for $2.25 per jar, while No Name brand sells for $1.75 per jar. If 140 jars were sold for a total of $290, how many jars of each brand were sold? So the first piece of information is pretty easy. We know that there's brand X, and we know that there's No Name brand, and we know there's a total of 140 jars. Fairly straightforward. It's in the standard form, no fractions, no equations. It's this next piece of information. Brand X sells for $2.25 a jar, so 2.25 times brand X, and No Name sells for $1.75. And if we knew how many of each type was sold, multiplied it out, added it up, they're telling us we'd come up with $290. So we're in the standard form, as we've decided the standard form is X and N, but we got to get rid of the decimals. So we'll go times 100. So this will be 225X plus 175N. And don't forget to multiply the 290. It becomes 290,000. So, or 29,000. So we now have two equations in the standard form with no fractions and no decimals. So let's work with those. X plus N equals 140. 225X plus 175N equals 29000. So we've either got to multiply this first equation by 225 or negative 225 or by negative 175. I'll pick the 175 just because it's a slightly smaller number. So times, and it's got to be negative 175. So we get negative 175x take away 175n equal to whatever 175 times 140 is. So 140 times 175 negative is negative 24500. So we can ignore this equation and add these two together. So 225 minus 175 gives us 50x. The 175s cancel out. So 29000 minus 24500 gives us 4,500. So x equals 4,500 divided by 50. gives us 90, I hope. 4500 divided by 50 does give us 90. So we're happy as far as that goes, only because it turned out to be a whole number. We don't want them having to sell parts of jars. So we plug it back in. We think X equals 90. So 90 plus N equals 140. N equals 140 minus 90 equals 50. So again, we're happy that it's a whole number because we don't want them selling parts of jars. So now let's go back to 2.25 times X, which we think is 90, plus 1.75 times N being equal to 290. So what do we get when we go 2.25 times 90 is 202.50. Still 1.75 N equals 290. So the 202.50 is going to have to leap over, and we get 1.75 N equals 290 minus 202.50. Let's see what that's equal to. That's equal to 87.50. So we're now at 175N equals 87.50. We can solve for N. Must be 87.50 divided by 1.75. So amazingly enough, turns out to be 50 again. So because this equals this, which is what we wanted, we're fairly sure that this is a good answer. So in terms of our ordered number pair, we'd have X and N. We'd be saying X was 90 and N was 50. That would be the ordered number pair we'd report, because if we graphed these two lines individually, that's where we think they would cross. In fact, we're fairly sure that's exactly where they would cross.